Last week, we started our bogies and boho adventure by splashing our way through heavy rain to check out the incredible Lima Falls before scaling the slippery and rutted Golden Mountain track to reach the stunning Golden Mountain Lookout. This week, a rocky hill climb sees every second car winching, and a massive fallen tree blocks our escape from the forest and weather as we search for the famous Gurrum Falls. Welcome to part 2 of our 5-part series exploring the best of Euroa and the Strathbogie Ranges.
Your 4x4 is presented by Aucamp Campers, Trek Hardware 4x4 Superstore, ARB 4x4 Accessories, Clearview Accessories, Piranha, Navara, My Coolman and Cooper Tyres.
I arrived in a camp yesterday. I managed to get all of my kit set up in the dark and a bit of rain. I decided to just park the Ram for the moment and hop in as a passenger.
So we've rolled out of camp shortly after breakfast, and literally 500 metres to a kilometre up the road, we come across our first little gnarly track. There was like what looked like a washout that stepped up and dropped off. It was not like that, it was more like a motocross tabletop. So it ramped up but then flattened out. Eased us a bit, but you still had to have the right line about you to get up it.
There was a bit of log to cross over, didn't quite get it with enough pace, so the back end ended up sliding around sideways. Had a couple of cracks at it, but managed to get there in the end.
Pretty slippery and a fair bit of moss and wet bark and stuff on the log. We got the front wheels up and over with a small stab on the throttle. The back just slid across the log. Had to back and have a couple of goes to sort of with a bit of momentum to bounce the back of the car up and over the log, but as soon as the back hit that log, it just wanted to slide off the side. But once we squared it up, it was pretty straightforward and up and over we went.
We headed up the hill a little bit further. Our guide, Daniel, got stuck up on the track. It was a pretty impressive spot.
Now looking up the track, we could see the whole side of the Navara, which we should be looking at the back of it. Obviously he'd got himself into a bit of a pickle and is quickly working out a way to get it out.
All of us down the course are a little bit nervous, thinking, oh geez, he went up and he had to be recovered. He's the local, he's the guide, he knows the area. So for us it was about, let's get up there, have a look, see what's going on.
Pretty awkward situation. Pretty lucky that he didn't go over, I reckon, but it was one of those things that luckily had the right gear and the right people there just to safely pull him back onto the track, but once again shows how quickly things can change, and if he had been on his own, he would have been in a bit of strife.
So we set out on this, what looked at first a fairly benign uphill section. Track was a lot narrower, you know, more rocks around. It was obviously the stakes were a bit higher.
Now it's time to get the big Iveco up. Low range for this one. First gear. Yeah, climbing nicely. All those wet rocks are slippery. Bouncing our way up and over. The big monster's doing it. Point and shoot. That is awesome. I dare say we're going to be winching a few vehicles in that section.
Okay, bring it up, Daniel. Let's hear it.
There was a massive rock in the middle and he crunched it with his diff and his rear suspension. Made it all easier for us, which is great.
The back spring hanger once again stopped us in our tracks. Safest bet is just to run the winch out and just do it without doing any more damage to cars, tracks, tyres, etc.
I think he was probably pretty pleased when he got to the top, that's for sure.
And then fortunately I was up next. That's where things got fairly interesting. Fairly interesting to say the least, actually.
Straighten up. That's good. Cross. Yep, straighten up again. Now drive straight to me. Straight to me. Hold it there. Perfect. Right, back it up. Hold it there, hold it there. Alright, so from where you are, straight. Once you've gone a metre, start turning left. Into it, into it. Yep, go, go, go. Into it. Straighten up, straighten up, straighten up. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. You had it, you had it. Back again, all the way. That was awesome.
Keep coming back.
After 5 or 6 attempts, we just had to go for it and hold down the loud pedal.
So you got to get some gas on and come up the bank and squeeze through here.
It seemed to work pretty well.
That's good. Into it, into it, into it. Yes, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Keep going. That is awesome. Well done.
Thank God for that. Got it up there finally.
After seeing a few of the other vehicles get up there, I thought I was probably going to struggle a little bit. A few big rock steps and there were some loose boulders which were going to affect the run-up angle.
Now, if you get stuck out here, at least you've got a rooftop tent to sleep in.
We managed to figure out a bit of a line after Daniel had to go in his 79 and broke one of the bigger rocks away, so that sort of flattened out some of the bigger obstacles.
All right, aiming for me. Let's get some gas on. Stop there, stop there.
He's on that big rock.
Where'd you leave your rear step?
I know, back there somewhere.
All right, you've got to come backwards.
Had a couple of goes. Unfortunately, we removed the rear bumper forcibly.
Oh, there's your rear step.
In fact, we caught one the day before, then we got the other one. So we feel like we've got the pair now.
We're unable to get up there and end up having to recover.
All I can hear ahead of me is everyone's getting winches out, winch, winch, winch. So this is going to be quite funny.
We are winching!
Being on all terrains and probably in the least capable four-wheel drive in the group was a pretty impressive bit of driving.
Oh, here we go. Step up rock steps makes me nervous. A series of rock steps and some big boulders that you have to place yourself in the right position to get around it. That's where a good spotter came in. Steve and Simon were spotting us.
Stop there, stop.
Good job, mate.
In the end, though, we had to do a bit of recovery.
Winch it.
Yeah, let's winch it.
It was great to have Steve actually out of the car at that time so he could take part in the recovery process.
Fantastic to see someone who hasn't done a lot of four-wheel driving in his time, and just to get in there and get amongst it. He wasn't scared, he was straight on the winch rope.
I'm just more than happy to get out and help with the winching and just be a part of getting the vehicles recovered.
He's picked up all of the lessons that we try and teach to be safe, especially once we're dealing with, couple-ton vehicles on sides of hills where it's slippery.
I think probably the most impressive drive out of all of it was Cooper's car.
Every other car ahead of me besides Simon had been winched. So I was a little iffy on what we do. Simon reassured me he'd get me up there. He said to me, if I get to where he is, turn hard right and stand on the gas and keep going. I got to that point, we still had momentum. Simon's there. I've reefed on the steering wheel to the right and kept driving. Next to me, bounced it up and over we went and we just kept going.
You can slow down for the rest of it.
Up next behind me was the Piranha car.
I picked my line. The first crack I had, it just got hooked up and was going nowhere. So just roll back and give it a bit more oomph and just a bit more momentum, just to try and get over the rock step. That certainly helped me get up.
All of the rest of us with full-on vehicles with diff locks and all of this on it had to be winched. So it was fantastic to see the boys get up unassisted.
That was an awesome drive.
Oh, that was a bit of a mission, wasn't it?
Yeah.
After that, we worked our way back down to camp.
And packed up from that camp as we're moving on elsewhere.
Remember when you're packing your caravan up to do the legs last, because all the walking up and down inside the caravan before you hitch it to your vehicle, you could possibly tip the van over. Spring-loaded catch makes it nice and easy. A simple pull up with the leg and you're locked away, ready for the road.
For now, we're leaving the wet, cold and muddy Lindsay's campsite. We're transiting back west away from the forest and heading for the tranquility and dryness of the Euroa Caravan Park. But first up was an engagement with a very special guest.
The local mayor come down to greet us and welcome us into the town.
He's been instrumental in getting us up here and organising the trip for us.
And I welcome you all here and have a great time. Euroa is an iconic little town in the Strathbogie Shire, about an hour and a half out of Melbourne. It's what they call a village just near the hills.
Beautiful small town. There's some amazing things to see in Euroa.
Great to see a place that's really looked after its heritage, and you can see that in all the old buildings.
Then you start going up into the hills, and that's where the beautiful countryside is. Very quiet, very relaxing.
They're looking forward to people coming back to visit these towns.
So we ask people just to come and enjoy us. We're here for you. We'll open our doors for everybody, and we just want you to come out and enjoy us.
We've come into Euroa and Simon's organised for us to stay at this caravan park.
Currently we're at the Euroa campgrounds, which are an absolute beautiful sight, as you can see around me. Great place to be camped.
So we're at the Euroa Caravan Park, which is located in Euroa, 1.5 hours about north of Melbourne, just off the Hume Freeway. We offer fire pits and fire drums per individual site, so you can really get that campfire feel with your marshmallows and the kids. We have the solar heated swimming pool. We've got pet-friendly cabins and non-pet friendly cabins. So the caravan park is every kind of demographic something different. So whether you're coming here to relax, whether you're going out to explore, whether you want to bring the family and really take in the scenery, it's a great park to do that.
And it's so close. Starhbogie Ranges are just there, so you can camp here or stay here and head out into the bush for the day, and you have the best of both worlds. You can come back and have a shower and stay clean and get back out the next day and get muddy again. Awesome place to stay, and you should definitely put it on your bucket list.
So next up we visited Gurrum Falls, which isn't too far out of town. Nice little parking area. We stopped there for a bite to eat.
On the back of the Iveco, we're running 2 Mike Coleman 60-litre fridges. Now, fridges are all about convenience, and it's very important how you set them up. And with the door opening this way and 2 fridges side by side, it's quite hard to access our food. But Mike Coleman's got you covered. Simply snap the lids off, reseat them, and you're good to go.
It was a good place to stop, have a break, get a bite to eat, and then go and explore the falls.
It's an 800-metre walk from the main car park down to the other end, and there's a couple of different tracks. One's the easy track that sort of follows along the top of the hill, and then there's another one which is a bit more strenuous. You can follow the rocks right alongside the river all the way down.
But the waterfall cascades down a series of long, big drops, plenty of water on there, and really picturesque, beautiful area.
To hear the water running across some rocks inside the creek, to listen to a waterfall, that's what it's all about now. Get out and see our own backyard.
We'd been fortunate to visit the falls during a brilliant patch of spring sunshine, but the forest was calling, along with slippery tracks, unpredictable weather, and even greater obstacles.
The next track that we hit was a steep hill. Didn't really look too slippery to begin with, but due to the angle of the camber of the road, it made it near impossible to drive up out of the ruts, and the vehicles just fell into them.
It was very wet and it felt quite slippery, and it was quite slippery even to walk.
The right line was trying to stay high up on the right, but the left wheel, it was just too much of a camber, and as you got to probably the half, 2/3 of the way, it just forced you into the gully on the left.
Mike from Clearview in the Toyota, obviously he's at his maximum GVM. I think he's at 4.2 tonne on that thing. He got stuck and came back, and just the weight and everything on it, we needed to winch him out to get him up. It was a real battle.
Simon said it's just up the track here. He said it's nice and smooth and flat and hard, so we thought, oh yeah, that'll be all right. Until we got to this little incline that's got a big gutter running down one side. I had to have a couple of bites at it, but we ended up having to winch out of it. The winch did its job once again, there's no doubt about it.
Then everyone else sort of progressed through, and everyone tried to stay to the right, but didn't matter what you did, that track just was determined. It pulled every single vehicle into the left, into the deep rut, but we all got up eventually.
James was behind the wheel. I got Jason from Cooper Tyres to go in with him, give him a bit more advice. Hopefully he listens to him more than he listens to me.
All right, jumped in here with James. We're going to just ease on up here, James.
I had the pleasure of jumping in the Cooper Tyres Ranger with Jason's son, Rory.
Okay, ready? I can see if your dad's driving better than mine.
There you go, well done.
Guys, we've got a fair bit of a mess here on the track and fair sized trees come down. A lot of branches we're going to have to clear off. Mike and Grant, I think you guys have got chainsaws. Please grab them, and everybody come on down. We're going to need all the hands on deck to clear this, please.
So within our group, there's this guy that just steals stuff. We don't know what the go is, but stuff goes missing. We actually thought we saw the two bandits. One was green-faced, the other one was white-faced. They came out, they had two chainsaws. We were sure they were going to pillage everything we owned, but they came up to help out with the tree.
Poor Sienna. She may not sleep for weeks after seeing that.
Sienna, she got a fright. Yeah, good bit of fun. It's always good to have a laugh when you're in those situations.
When you see from a distance, it's all right, geez, we'll get rid of that in 15 minutes, but...
This was a big tree, and quite a lot of the canopy itself was actually right in the middle of the road.
We could have turned around, drove away and not cleared it. The whole idea for us was to clear it. Anyone else that's coming out can enjoy the track. It also helps out locals. We're right in the heart of getting into fire season. That means any fire truck that's going out there doesn't have to stop and go, oh God, we got to clear this tree.
Good thing, plenty of people on board to do different scenarios. Someone on the saw, someone on the drag chains, someone on the winch dragging things out of the way.
We're halfway through clearing this thing and the heavens opened up, and gee, it came down. Like, we'd seen some rain through the weekend, but this seemed to be torrential. We're taking a half-time break. We all ran to our cars, jumped in, started our engines, turned the heater on, sit there trying to get warm.
We were just hoping it wouldn't last too long. Fortunately, 15, 20 minutes later, things eased up a bit and we were able to continue.
I was walking backwards and forwards with the chain. We were dragging the limbs of the tree back with the 79 series.
Great team effort. We had the ARB 79 series pulling the logs back on a chain after we'd cut them and pushing them off to the side of the road. We had Simon's Iveco walking a pulley system, pushing the other ones to his side of the road.
The boys cut the logs in a really workable length, so they were easy to manoeuvre and roll off the track once we got them unhooked.
Good thing though, fairly large group amongst us here and everyone's quite experienced. Everyone hooked in and got it cut up and moved off the track. It's all good and easy for people to pass now.
Got my little wet shaggy dog here, drying his hair. Look at it, look at it. Here, puppy.
We just come round the next bend and here's all these trees that have come down. The boys got their chainsaws out and axes out.
And everyone would have to have a go at axing. Hoya! Hoya!
Imagine how long that would have taken.
Looking forward to now getting down this track and doing some more four-wheel driving.
After we'd cleared the tree, the area we went into was just absolutely superb. Beautiful trees, moss, a little bit of mist at that time after the rain as well, but such a wonderful little area.
Unfortunately, not a whole heap further though. It turns out might be a dead-end track.
Then we all cracked a Yui and headed back again.
We're coming back down and went, oh, we got this little gnarly track that everyone had struggled to come up and had been thrown into the left-hand side of the track. We're coming down it the opposite way.
It was so slippery that it just forced them down a washer. You couldn't actually stay on the track, it just forced you off the road.
At the bottom, they'd kept going around to the right, which surprised me quite a lot. I figured it would just be horrid in there and really soft.
We tried to do many different positions coming down it to see which way the car would handle, and it did exactly the same thing. It sucked us in.
The 200 series just being so heavy and managed to slide into the side and was a bit all over the shop. But after all, everyone got through.
As the rain started to set in, the crew escaped the forest, looking forward to the comforts of the Euroa caravan park. Join us next week as our Your 4x4 Strathbogie adventure continues.